21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Maybe I was wrong to start learning before our interviews. I took that Udemy course and start reading books, etc.
Wonderful. No, I believe that entrepreneurs they're incentivized to find answers so that they can solve world problems, right? So if you are an entrepreneur that has a curiosity about blockchain, and then you choose to take the steps to educate yourself, you're going to find a lot of garbage out there, right?
Oh,
you're
really?
You come on YouTube?
Even an expensive garbage.
There's expensive garbage out there. There's cheap garbage out there. But there's gold in them there hills. There is gold. So what we've tried to do at the Blockchain Chamber of Commerce is start to build an infrastructure and a platform where people can come and find that gold and find the individuals that have been mining that gold for years, right? So having experienced contributors that can speak to the realities, the challenges, the benefits, sometimes the backward steps that have been taken in the technology, that's where the real gold is. Like understanding what can really be done, getting your hands dirty, right? Actually being one of those guys that, gets a wallet and, looks at the Bitcoin blockchain or goes to events and connects with people that, were those cypherpunks that were in their basements, 10 years ago and, making games where you could get a Bitcoin drip. You could get like 0.01 Bitcoin like every 10 minutes as a reward for playing some of these games. And basically
Beautiful.
you were stepping in as one of the miners and you got rewarded. It was an interesting infrastructure, I don't, looking back at some of the stuff that I saw online, 7-8 years ago, had I known where we would be today, I would have done a lot more gaming, and gotten that drip.
What does it mean? Can you explain it a little bit more? More into gaming?
Well,
like you could get some coins or get some excitement or both?
You got rewarded with Bitcoin, right?
Okay, but there is an excitement as well, learning curve probably.
Yeah, no, it was just, they were random games. It wasn't like the games themselves were like super amazing.
Oh, really?
It was just, if you engaged in the game, you would earn, think about like Angry Birds type, just.
Really?
Yeah, like little, and obviously they had some of the more gambling type games and, this is the reality. In every ecosystem, there are players that will take the same technology and use it very, very differently. Some will take it to the fun, interactive, educational side of things, and some will take it to the, gambling, sucking you into, an addiction potentially side of things. And, I'm not saying that there's any reason that either side should be, overly encouraged or barred. But the technology is taken different directions. And the question is, who are you and how would you choose to engage in it? And where's the value add for you as an individual? I think there needs to be, some awareness that regulation does impact just because you're doing something with cryptocurrency doesn't mean that you don't have to abide by the gambling laws in the location that you're in, right?
Sorry, Linda, for all of us that are rookies, regulation, what does it mean? What kind of regulation?
That's a huge overarching question. The SEC is the regulatory body in the United States that regulates securities,
Uh-huh.
and there's different institutions that are in place to regulate different types of activities. So you might need a money transfers license. But is Bitcoin money? What other cryptocurrencies are there out there? Are they a security? Are they a utility token? Are they a digital currency? Those designations haven't been clear in a lot of jurisdictions up to this point. So we're right now at this time frame where governments are realizing we need to be definitive, and we need to outline what the definitions are. We have small countries that are being proactive, and because they're small, they can be agile. Estonia is a great example of an agile country. I'm actually going to be speaking with one of the females, and I was like, yes, a woman was a big part of this, that helped architect the digital citizenship in Estonia. And it's a game changer. These small countries are going to get exposure. They're going to get investment dollars. They're going to get companies participating in their infrastructure, their ecosystem, their location, bringing dollars there because they are clearly outlining what the regulatory infrastructure is in their jurisdiction. And the United States, unfortunately, we've had the SEC regulating more with punitive action against people that have done, I guess, illegal things with their the way that they have taken money from investors and not gone through the correct steps to justify that. You can't sell a security and make big promises about how much this token is going to go to the moon, and you just can't do that.
There are some beautiful videos, by the way. Can you please explain to me and to our audience? So you were talking about regulation, but isn't the whole concept deregulated on some way?
Distributed and deregulated
in distribution. Okay.
are two different things.
Okay.
So,
okay. Please teach me. I don't know anything about the topic.
Okay. DLT stands for Distributed Ledger Technology.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not deregulated technology, it's distributed. And the power that comes when something is fully distributed and has, like, say, for instance, the Bitcoin blockchain. Mm-hmm. It is spread across the world in millions of places. It's got, massive hash power behind it. No one government controls Bitcoin. No one gender controls Bitcoin. No one ethnicity controls Bitcoin. It is truly held by humans worldwide. And, some people argue that maybe, AI holds Bitcoin too. I don't know. Well,
isn't it?
No, I just threw that in there for fun. But it really is something that is fully distributed, and there is power in that, because as a human being, I can contract directly with you as another human being and send you Bitcoin, and I don't need any government to give me permission. I don't need any bank to take their cut in the middle. I don't need to worry that somehow my value is being lost to another entity that's not part of this relationship that you and I have, right?
What does it? Sorry, Linda. What does it mean? Send it to me. Is it similar to PayPal, or is it something different? So you can send it to me via email, or what's the?
Yeah.
What's the system?
It can be sent in multiple ways. There's cryptocurrencies that literally you can send an email and boom, you've got it in your email, and
Via
you can
email?
put it via email.
Really?
Yeah. And you
And
can put it in your wallet.
I can be calm, I can be in my peace that nobody
Doesn't
will steal my Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well, this is an important thing to bring up. With blockchain and cryptography, there are private keys.
Uh-huh.
And that's just a string of letters and numbers. Okay? So that private key represents your ownership of the Bitcoin on the blockchain. Okay? It isn't Bitcoin, but it's your access to the Bitcoin that is on the blockchain, if that makes sense.
Access to the Bitcoin that is part of the blockchain.
Right. So if anybody holds that private key, they have the right to spend that Bitcoin. So it's a personal responsibility thing. I could send you that email, and if you don't secure that private key and somebody hacks your computer and gets access to that, then it's no longer your Bitcoin. It's one of the trite sayings, not your key, not your Bitcoin. But I mean, that's very fundamentally true, because anybody with that private key can go and spend that Bitcoin in any way they want, and you have no way of retrieving it, because it's decentralized, it's distributed, and it's that key is what's the important thing. Also, when you have a wallet, you can have seed words. It's generally 12 seed words that represent that wallet and the right to access that wallet. So you could have 12 seed words that anybody who gets those 12 seed words can download that wallet and spend anything that's in it. And there's wallets that can hold dozens of cryptocurrencies. So you could have a wallet that holds Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum and Monero, and anybody who gets your seed words, they own.
Thank you, Linda. Now I feel much better. Thank you. Thank you very much for this positive impact on my mind. So if we speak about the implications for society, are there any? I mean, I did some prep before our interview, and we will have a few more episodes regarding Bitcoin, because something will come in May next year. Maybe you can share with us what exactly regarding the cryptocurrency. It's a hot topic.
The halving?
But I don't know. I'm just learning. So
okay. I think you're talking about the halving of Bitcoin.
Probably, maybe. It's so much to say, but overall implications for society. Are there any implications for society? Do I need to start thinking on a different way? Do I need to really embrace Bitcoin or blockchain per se? Or is it just a story?
It's a story. It's a story that I started personally in 2012. My part of the story started then, when my husband and I purchased our first Bitcoin. And that was a time frame where I saw something online, and it made sense to me that this is something that's going to be very important. It's a diversified asset class. It's a potential chaos hedge. It is something that can transfer value so uniquely that it will change the way the world works. And in 2012, when I got that so strongly, I went to my husband 3 times before he finally agreed, okay, let's do something about this. And we bought our first Bitcoin. But it's a game changer. I literally have believed that it's going to change the way the world works. And for the last 7 years, I've watched it change the way the world does business, the way value is transferred, the way people can be rewarded for doing good for the environment. We have so many ways. And one of the things that I've had the pleasure of doing as part of the Blockchain Chamber of Commerce is organizing the blockchain ecosystem. And with the help of Eric Pacini and James Wallace, those 2 gentlemen, Eric led Deloitte's, he was part of their initial 3-man Bitcoin team. He led that all the way to, I think, 1,200 blockchain specialists worldwide for Deloitte.
Nice guys.
And he currently leads our supply chain vertical. And James
Beautiful.
Wallace did something very similarly for IBM and took their blockchain team, global and as impactful as what they're doing in blockchain is. It's been a
By the
huge. Yeah,
Mhm.
he leads our financial services vertical.
Oh, beautiful. By the way, speaking about IBM, can you please share top 2 or 3 stories regarding IBM involved into the blockchain?
Okay, so like through Hyperledger, that's a private permission blockchain.
Mhm.
They've been very instrumental. They've had large organizations like Walmart. They provided the infrastructure for some enterprise level implementations that are supply chain focused. I think they've been instrumental in quite a number of POCs, which are proof of concepts, showcasing what can be done and the potential ROI that's possible. They're definitely focused on the enterprise level implementation. The same thing, interestingly, with Deloitte, they've had until very recently a POC approach. So they've been using blockchain to showcase what's possible and giving a proof of concept. But what we're looking at that's happening more and more is they're starting to put infrastructure in the back end that is blockchain based, that's providing efficiencies that weren't possible before, and actually
Such as?
getting them running. Some of them are still not public information.
Okay.
So yeah, you're gonna have some big projects that are announced. I know there's
Soon.
something fun. There's something fun coming out on the 25th around a blockchain solution in supply chain that has a really powerful patent attached to it.
Fun.
So that is a fun one. We have a member of the chamber that was hugely. He's just a genius. He's a phenomenal gentleman. But probably almost a dozen years ago, he created this patent sequence, and it underlies every aspect of digital connectivity of drivers, loads, and carriers. So it's an underpinning of the ecosystem as we know it when it comes to supply chain.
By the way,
And
blockchain is some kind of software, or
it
what
is
is
a
what is a
unique.
blockchain? It is not a currency. It is not like a dollar, yeah?
No,
Physical. Like it's more like a software, or
it's a technology.
technology. Okay.
So it combines cryptography, and it depends on what blockchain you're looking at, whether you're looking at a public blockchain or a private permission blockchain.
Uh-huh.
The actual structure that is implemented, there's different proofs that create the validation of the blocks. So we have proof of work, proof of stake. That I think there's like 20, oh no, is it 50? I saw one infographic that was over 50 different types of proof.
By the way, Chamber of Commerce, it's like an organization. Can you help me, for example, as a newcomer? Do you have any publications done, or?
Yeah, so the Blockchain Chamber of Commerce is a for-benefit organization, and we have a social mandate, and that's to raise awareness, facilitate adoption, and inspire advocacy. And that's for commerce, consumers, people building careers in blockchain. So yes, we can be a resource. We have the blockchain ecosystem that we haven't done any paid advertising around it. We've been working to create an infrastructure where blockchain companies can come, they can self-designate into our 12 verticals. If you're into energy, and energy and blockchain is actually our focus this month at the Chamber. We're educating around that. We have an event that we're co-hosting in Atlanta with the Energy Blockchain Consortium, and bringing that education, information to the community, raising awareness around how blockchain is impacting the energy sector. And that's what we're seeking to do, is educate not just about cryptocurrencies. And there's a hype cycle that's followed cryptocurrencies, and there's been some negative press around that, and how crypto is used by criminals. There's a lot of potential negative points that people can point to, but the argument is how many criminal activities are Benjamins being used in, right?
Sure.
Things that can be directed towards good, like we started talking about at the beginning, they can be used by bad actors. And so the question is, how can we help facilitate the people that have the right intent, that have that positive impact of potential? How can we showcase them? How can we bring the grassroots, and have people be able to find the solutions that they're looking for in blockchain? Because as an entrepreneur, you may have a great idea, but you don't know how to implement. And we have experts, and I hate to say the word experts, because in blockchain, it's such a growing, moving technology. I mean, every day things are changing. So for anyone to call themselves an expert, if you believe them, that's on you. But there's experienced contributors, and that's what we're trying to highlight on the blockchain ecosystem, is experienced contributors. So people can come in and find the resources that they're looking for, whether it's somebody who's a coder that's been working with blockchain for a number of years, or someone who has expertise in blockchain as it pertains to supply chain implementation. We're hoping to have those resources showcased in a way that entrepreneurs looking for solutions can find them. And, if you have a great idea and then you go on a platform and you see that 3 other people have already executed on that great idea, and you may have a really unique aspect that would make how they've executed be better, then you connect with that resource. You don't need to go, build the whole car when you just happen to have a widget that will make a car that's already built run better, right? So we're hoping to connect the dots in a way that the ecosystem can be more efficient, that entrepreneurs can implement faster and more collaboratively, and have go-to-market be something that, we're not having 20 teams siloed in places all around the world working on the exact same thing, and, not even knowing each other exists. That's a travesty. That's a waste of time and energy and effort. Where if we get some collaboration and some efficiencies, we can really help bring solutions to market faster.
So basically, there is a chamber of commerce. There are experienced contributors. Are you some kind of bridge or a platform, or how can you explain it?
Yeah, the Blockchain Chamber of Commerce built out the blockchain ecosystem as an initiative of the chamber to provide a platform where any organization can come. It's set up beautifully to have. I mean, you've heard of the Wild Wild West, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the benefit of the Wild Wild West was the ability to stake your claim, right? That's why the pioneers went out. That's why they took the arrows and had their scalps taken, because there was this hope of, we can stake a claim, we can be landowners, we can have opportunities that were never possible before. One of the benefits of being in this Wild Wild West is that you can stake your claim. And,
okay.
The pioneers took arrows in the back, got their scalps taken, but they had the right, in many instances, to stake their claim on brand new land, had access. And so that's something that in the blockchain ecosystem, we can offer the opportunity for people to stake their claim and set up their own private, semi-private, or public groups to start conversations, to be thought leaders in forums, to really showcase themselves to not only the rest of the blockchain ecosystem, but to people coming and looking for solutions. And we feel like it's a level playing field, and we've done that intentionally. We don't have the blockchain Chamber of Commerce plastered all over the place. You can see at the very bottom of the ecosystem website, it just says an initiative of the Blockchain Chamber of Commerce, because the platform was designed to allow for organizations, for governments, for individuals, for NGOs, for associations to come and use the platform to showcase to the community and to others looking for blockchain solutions who they are, what they offer, and to really allow them to be showcased and found. And the SEO boost that the blockchain ecosystem is built with allows for not just one high quality backlink to your traditional website, but up to dozens. And the cost of it is less than you'd pay for one high quality backlink if you're using a traditional SEO boosting company.
Amazing.
So we've really built it out for the community, and even on the platform, you can be rewarded with cryptocurrency for engaging in the Q&As, for participating in groups, for inviting other consumers. The reward infrastructure is there to have the community be getting the benefits of their engagement. And we believe that that's a very stark differentiation between many of the social media platforms of today, where people are constantly contributing, but they're not the ones getting the advertising dollars, right? That's going to the big organizations. And those big organizations are actually using people's, private, what people feel should be private, but they have no right to that privacy because they've signed it off by being on that platform. They're using that data and they're selling it. And what we've done as the chamber is we've separated ourselves by using third-party providers, so we have no access to that data. A phone number is needed to make sure we're dealing with a real person as much as possible. And even as CEO of the Blockchain Chamber of Commerce, I cannot access that phone number. I can't see the login password, any of the private personal information having to do with your wallet. I can't access that. I don't want to access that. That's your private information that belongs to the individual, and any activities you take on the platform, we want you to be rewarded for your engagement. And that's why we built it. And I just, it makes me happy
Linda,
to know that.
Linda, it sounds like, I mean, thank you for considering my privacy, but you are naughty guys. You are disrupting the whole ecosystem. I mean, to a better place, but we are in the middle of disruption, aren't we? Where is north? Where is south? Who am I in the system? Who are you in the system? What is the system?
The system is about personal responsibility.
Oh.
And when I talked about the private keys, having the capacity to control your private keys, be the architect and manager of your sovereign identity, that's very, very powerful. And it's also a huge responsibility. And I don't know that we are ready for that responsibility as individuals yet.
And what about AI? maybe with a small help of AI, we will be able to have that kind of personal responsibility.
Yeah,
or is it a too hot topic?
It's a double-edged sword, is what it is.
No, AI is just. Is it really so serious? So Elon Musk has a point when talking about AI.
Well,
I mean,
I
is
think
it a blockchain part of the AI, or we will see some kind of interaction between blockchain and AI, and then they will integrate, or they will have some intimate moments, and that there will be a child, and that child will like immerse from the field of awareness. Or I mean, I'm completely confused. Please help me.
you're too much. Well, to take the sexual innuendo out of it, I'm going to use the analogy of glue and
Okay.
say that blockchain is the glue that can hold the big data that's coming from IoT devices, and create the conduit both on the front and back end of AI to allow for appropriate permissions to the data and to validate the data over time by creating an immutable record of that data. So we're 2xing data every 2 years. We're doubling it. So
Every 2 years, double.
data is doubling every 2 years. And we have more data that's been produced in the last 2 years than I believe in like human history. It's insane. So there's going to
There
need
are
to
a lot
be
of children, actually.
that's you're
Well,
going
I'm
you're
trying.
going
I'm trying to do the complex topic like more humane, but I'm still pretty confused. So basically, let me be more serious. If AI has some sort of control over the input and output, am I part of the black box or the feedback mechanism, or where am I?
It depends on which blockchain is being used and what country you're in.
Beautiful. So
And
so
that's
now so now we will speak diplomatic. So now we are in diplomacy.
well, it's a functional reality.
Okay. Can you
So
describe functional reality, please?
um, facial recognition
Okay.
is being used in some countries, and the tracking
I
of
can say China because it's my podcast. Okay. Please continue.
the digital footprint of any individual is now such that it can be used to create permissions for that individual or take permissions away.
Is there hunting going on a global scale?
A what?
Hunting.
Hunting?
Knowledge hunting, blockchain hunting, any kind of hunting. Is it hunting or cooperation? Are we making new children, or are we killing ourselves?
Once again, it's who is in control, where, and how they're using which blockchain technology.
So it's really about personal
It
responsibility,
is
yes?
really, really about personal
Really?
responsibility.
Okay.
And when I can tell you, the Blockchain Chamber of Commerce is one of the most naturally diverse organizations that I've ever seen or been a part of. I've had conversations around the world, from China to Malaysia to Singapore to Australia to Argentina and Dubai and London and Estonia, and I mean just it is a technology that has such a powerful impact on individuals' lives that individuals everywhere are saying, I want to be involved. I want to use this technology. I want to take advantage of the options and opportunity that it gives me. And so on an individual basis, I'm seeing amazing collaboration and connectivity around the world. when it comes to how individual governments choose to use this technology, we've seen very diverse approaches, and some are using it as a hot button ticket to get more money into their ecosystem. Some are using it as the penultimate control mechanism, and some don't quite know what to do with it yet. And I'm sure there's designations that I haven't been able to define, and there's some that I don't want to mention.
But the interesting point is from one side we have an individual basis, and from other side we have the whole networking system. If we try to be as much concrete as we can, not to go into abstract level, I'm still present as an individual, but I cooperate with others, so I become part of the like a global ecosystem or something like that.
The blockchain ecosystem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as I told you, I did a prep. I bought a Udemy course, and I understand that I cannot play with a part of blockchain, because I will change something and my blockchain will be deleted and or something like that. So basically, I cannot. You see, I'm pretty stupid still regarding the topic. So, but basically, I cannot interfere as an individual, not to become more sincere and to speak about mafia. And to change anything, because the system is deregulated, it's a crypto involved. So if you can say, if you can share with us something about the safety of the whole system.
Yeah,
So it's a pretty safe
speaking,
place, yes?
It's a safe place and it's a dangerous place. What you're speaking to is the security of a public blockchain.
Public blockchain. Okay.
So, to speak to Bitcoin as an example, there's something called a 51% attack, and because of how fully Bitcoin is distributed, to actually get 51% of the hash power at any given time is just that part of it would be super, super difficult. But to change one of the blocks, so when you were talking about, I can't go in there and mess with something or change it, because if you tried to do that, it would change the hash, and that hash represents all of the data that has been put on the blockchain to that point. You change one little piece of information in all of that data, that hash changes. And everyone else who's on the blockchain and validating it goes, hey, that's not right. You don't belong here. Kick that out. So because of the distributed nature of Bitcoin as a public blockchain, it has never, as a blockchain, it has never been hacked. And people have been trying to attack it, and there's multi-million dollars in rewards. Like, the guy that points out, a way that Bitcoin can be hacked, will get rewarded, because the community wants to fix it. If there's an incursion point, we want to know it, and we want to fix it. And I say we, because I'm part of the Bitcoin community, having been someone who said, hey, this technology is important, I want to be a part of it. And so, owning Bitcoin, I believe, is part of being in the Bitcoin community. But it's just one of the current cryptocurrencies, right? It's not the only. It just happened to be the first, and it's been stated by multiple, even heads of state, that it's like digital gold. And so it's a way to transfer value. And because it is secure, and because it is so fully distributed, because no government or individual controls its distribution, because it's the code that is actually continuing the infrastructure creation, it has a immutability that doesn't exist in many other ways. Or any other ways. I hesitate to use because I'm sure that there can be other ways at some point at some time, but it's definitely a unique technology and a unique implementation.
Linda, please tell me something. Is it possible that everything started with just one guy? I'm still a rookie, so I don't know.
There's a lot of stories. I've talked to people that say they've talked to the real Satoshi and it was a woman.
Okay, sorry, guy. I mean, like a persona. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I've talked to people that claim that it's a government initiative that came out of the Department of Defense in the U.S.
It's something so different from anything regarding our whole society and past and learning curves, and so I just need to embrace it as a technology, or can I buy a book and learn something about the history of the system, or is it a new religion? What is it? I don't understand. I mean, does it make babies?
That's a great question, because I've had people tell me, I believe in blockchain, but I don't believe in Bitcoin. And I'm like, is this a new religion? Yeah, that's a great question, because faith, and there's a whole philosophical, conversation that can be had here, where fear of the unknown is what has held people back historically from progress. That's just the reality. And people that have been hearing about Bitcoin, for years, but haven't done anything about it, it's because they don't understand it. Where did it come from? Who started this technology? I mean, that sounds really complicated, hashes and Merkle trees. And like, I don't understand that. I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, right? So that's fear of the unknown. And what we've seen is that people have engaged with cryptocurrencies and blockchain. They have been impacted by the fear of missing out.
Uh-huh.
Right? So fear of missing out. You see your buddy who bought Bitcoin and, now he's a millionaire and he owns a yacht, and you're like, I want that Lamborghini. I'm going to invest. And so you have this hype cycle that can happen, which facilitates adoption, but not intelligently. So what we've seen is that to this point, the fear of missing out has been the only thing strong enough to supersede the fear of the unknown. And what we'd like to see is education being the key that unlocks blockchain for the masses. And, education about the history of money. That's what I was doing this morning at 7:45. I was at a local middle school educating the kids about the history of money. And I showed them a little clip of a conversation that I had with Ambassador Andrew Young. And he's talking about the Bretton Woods Agreement and how it was dissolved, and just the history of that, and understanding it is empowering. And we're at another crossroads with the history of money and the value transfer that's possible with cryptocurrency and with tokenization. This is a huge shift in the way the world works. And I'm hopeful that through the collaborative connections we have at the Chamber and the initiatives that we're rolling out, that we're going to have some really powerful impact in bringing education to the table. As we're going to have another hype cycle, people are still going to fear missing out, and that's going to be their motivation. But one of the things that we're recognizing is if people understand the historical trajectory of money and value transfer, they get why cryptocurrency is the next step. So they're jumping into it, not out of fear of missing out because they don't want their buddy to benefit. They're getting into it because they understand that it's the next step in history, and they realize that there is a value to being a pioneer. And, some people are like, oh, well, you got in 7 years ago, so, but I missed the boat. And, the analogy of, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years, 100 years ago, or today? And so the people that are recognizing, hey, if I do something proactive today, I can help preserve my value in this shift that's happening.
Meanwhile, the music's going on. There's a guitar player, a keyboard player, and a harmonium player, and they're all chanting. And I'm talking into her ear. And so I started toning in different places in the body, and she eventually started pointing to all.
When you are talking about adoption driving force, maybe even about value transfer, you have a sister?
Yes. I have 4 sisters.
Linda, please, but the sister, the one that we spoke about before, and so it's a very interesting story. So I will actually do interview with your sister, and regarding the value transfer, the adoption driving force, the shift. Can you share with us something about your sister?
Absolutely. I'm the youngest of 6 kids, so. The sister that you're referencing is the one that was part of a threesome pod. We were all made in Peru. So in Peru, my sister experienced something that no young child should experience. And it was through that victimization and the progression that she went through her life to find healing that she has personally a very powerful story. And because of what she had gone through, she had other women who connected with her. And about 4 years ago, she wrote a book called Bloom in the Dark. And it's 30 poems, stories, and letters of women who had been victimized. And they share their stories, but they also share the hope and healing that's possible. So it's a powerful book. She took it and then was interviewing both women and men in a movie series or a TV series called Bloom Today. And that's currently aired in over 200 countries, I think 204. She's just come out with a whole new series. And what she has done is taken victimization and said, you know what, you can be an ex-victim. And that, I believe, is something that cryptocurrency brings to the table for the people of the world as well, where there has been victimization through manipulation on it truly is a global scale. You can't point to any particular country and say, you've done this to your people, or you've allowed this organization to, mismanage, the banking system. It truly is something that's been systemic worldwide, where the people in power have used the ability to control the transfer of value to historically control the masses. And in my opinion, that's victimization. And there's a lot of people that are seeing the value of cryptocurrency to help them become ex-victims. So, there's women that can actually get a digital wallet and have cryptocurrency that isn't tied to a bank account, isn't searchable, by maybe their abusive spouse. And so there's a tie-in where cryptocurrency can be a real value add to help individuals get out of abusive situations. And there's ways that people in third world countries that didn't have access to a bank now have a way to get themselves a credit rating, to participate in a global ecosystem. And it is so empowering. It is so the good use of cryptocurrency. It's just something that I feel can be such a great value add to individuals across the world if we're willing to take personal responsibility and accept our role in value holding, value transfer. We can have a different world than what we've known to this point.
"21st Century Entrepreneurship" with Martin Piskarik.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to us as you leave a positive review on iTunes.